Welcome to ePadasala lecture series in computer science. Today we are going to discuss an interesting design paradigm called randomized algorithms. Last few modules we were concentrating on hard problems. We had seen that hard problems are very difficult to get solved. So, we have to use some sort of a paradigm. So, we use randomized algorithms for that. The objective of today's module is going to discuss about the fundamentals of randomized algorithms. As part of that, we are going to discuss about pseudo random numbers, one of the essential step in writing randomized algorithms. Then we are going to discuss some basic randomized algorithms, as well as we are going to talk about how to analyze the randomized algorithms. Last few modules we were talking about hard problems. What exactly we mean by hard problems? Hard problems are intractable problems. That means the problems that are too tough, where we find it very difficult to solve in polynomial time. These algorithms are exponential in nature and require more computer resources. Last few classes we were talking about some of the most difficult problems like traveling salesperson problem, Hamiltonian cycle, etc., etc. These problems are very difficult to solve when the input size increases. We had seen that for solving these sort of problems, we require a huge amount of resources, but practically it is very difficult to provide such resources for them. So, therefore, solution of these problems are too tough. Last few modules we also discussed how to utilize these sort of principles to prove whether a given problem is hard or not. But unfortunately, most of the real world problems are hard problems. For example, if you take problems like weather forecasting, etc., these are hard problems and we require a solution for that. So, for these sort of problems, real time problems, where we have to find a solution somehow, we have to go for certain paradigms. How to solve these sort of problems? So, for these sort of things, we have to go for certain design methodology, and as part of this uh, lecture series, we are going to discuss two such interesting design paradigms. One is called the randomized algorithms and another is called the approximation algorithms. So, what is a randomized algorithm? Imagine like this. Imagine you are having a company that produce transistors. Imagine you produce 50 transistors a day. If that is the case, then you can employ one quality check engineer to verify all the products. Imagine if your production unit becomes bigger and you are producing 5000 units. If that is the case, then you require more quality engineers. On the other hand, if your organization becomes extremely larger and you are producing a 5 million transistors a day, then the number of quality check professional also increases dramatically. In other words, as the number of units becomes larger and larger, the number of quality check professionals should increase. So, the question is what is the upper limit? So, at certain point we always find the problem of inadequacy. In this sort of things, what would be the solution? So, one probable solution is you can randomly check. Instead of checking all the transistor units, what you can do is you can randomly pick transistors then and there, and probably you can check for quality. In this case, you are not checking all the units, you are checking only the sample, but if the sample is good, then probably you can make some sort of an quality assumption about your whole production process. This is what you are going to do as part of randomized algorithms. Another way of solving this thing is by means of approximation algorithms, where you will be using the principle of restrictions, where you will try to reduce some of the constraints, then you will try to solve the problem under the reduced set of constraints, then you will say that this is the near optimal solution or near approximate solutions. So, the logic is something is better than nothing. So, that means even though you are not getting the exact solution, but you are getting a solution closer to that. That is the philosophy of the approximation algorithms. So, today what we are going to do is we are going to spend our time with randomized algorithms. Fine. What is randomness? A state of the system whose behavior follow no deterministic or predictable pattern is said to have a random behavior. In other words, randomness means it is not deterministic. In other words, it is very difficult to predict the state of the system. So, for those sort of thing only we are calling as the random systems. We encounter many situations of randomness in our day to day life. For example, gambling is a place where you encounter the randomness. Puzzles are another instance where you encounter the randomness. Decision making process. In many business organizations, we may have to take a lot of decisions under uncertainty. So, these sort of uncertain situations makes your decision making process very difficult, where you have to encounter a lot of chaos where randomness is involved. Finally, in computer science domain, we will encounter heuristics. Heuristics are thumb rules which makes your algorithm work. Most of the time the algorithm works. At some point of the time the algorithm may fail also if the heuristics is not designed properly. In other words, we are getting some sort of a thumb rule and then we are trying to utilize that for solving a given problem. In fact, in computer science there are many problems which can be solved by heuristics where we encounter randomness. In other words, randomness is not new for us. So, it is something which we face in our daily life very often, and we are utilizing this sort of randomness for our particular algorithms. The algorithms where this sort of randomness is used is called randomized algorithms. There is one more name for this category of algorithms. It is called the probabilistic algorithms. So, randomized algorithms and probabilistic algorithms are synonymous. In randomized algorithms, what we are going to do is we are going to use randomness as a computing tool for algorithm design. In other words, the program logic is also going to consider the randomness as one of the component, and we have to use that for giving the solution of the given problems. In contrast, randomized algorithms are radically different from the other algorithms that we had discussed so far. The algorithm that we had discussed so far are called the deterministic algorithms. So, these deterministic algorithms are algorithm whose output is fixed for all inputs. So, that means if you have an algorithm as a component and for all the inputs the output is going to remain the same. These kind of algorithms are called deterministic algorithms. On the other hand, randomized algorithms are slightly different. Here the output is based on the random decisions. So, the output is based on the probability and all the output is going to have some sort of an output which has got negligible errors on the long run. In other words, the crucial part is what you say the random bits that are used by the random generators. In other words, in randomized algorithms you have two scenarios. The inputs are going to determine the nature of the algorithms, both the input data as well as the random bits, and then we are going to use the random choices as part of the logic. In other words, the randomness that is discussed so far are going to be used as part of the computer logic. Fine. The question is what is the advantage of these algorithms? In the beginning itself, we have said the context of randomized algorithms. Randomized algorithms are going to be applied for problems that are reasonably hard. So, that means the problems for which the exact solutions are always a question mark are going to be the candidate for randomized algorithms. So, the randomized algorithms have got a proven record for its simplicity. Randomized algorithms are very simple in nature. It uses some sort of a pseudo random number generator for creating the randomness, and using that as part of the programming logic the algorithm operates. It is characterized by its simpleness. These algorithms are also very efficient, which can be comparable to deterministic algorithms, and the computational complexity is better than these deterministic algorithms. This is the greatest plus point we have. That means, instead of having a deterministic algorithm which takes lots of time, we can go for a randomized solution which can offer solution in a fixed period of time. These are the advantages. Fine. Is there any disadvantages of randomized algorithms? Yes, there are certain disadvantages. One of the disadvantage is that reliability is an issue. That means, we are going to depend on the reliability. For example, let us say you take a simple problem of a maze. In one of the earlier module, we discussed about a maze where there is an entry and where there is an exit. In a deterministic algorithm, how we will proceed? In a deterministic algorithm, we will generate all the possible path from the entry to exit. Then we will go for a path out of the collection of path that we had collected so far. That is how the deterministic algorithm works. The advantage is guaranteed solution, but what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is the number of paths are very larger, and sometimes it is exponential in nature. So, therefore, solving the deterministic algorithm is very difficult proposition. On the other hand, randomized algorithm, what it will do is it will create some sort of a randomness. maybe a flip of the coin, and based on the flip of the coin the decision will be made. In that case, there are certain possibility that the algorithm may lack certain guaranteed solution. In other words, the reliability is a big issue, and also the quality is dependent on the quality of the random number used as part of the algorithms. In other words, the quality is dependent on the random numbers that are used. And in these randomized algorithms, we are going to use some of the design principles like this. One of the principle that we will use in randomized algorithm is called concept of witness. So, the concept of witness is something like this. We take an object x and then we will check whether the object has got the property y, and we will look for a witness, and the witness guarantee that the object x has got a property y. If anyone should guarantee that, then it is called the witness. So, you conduct a lot of random trials, and let us say if in most of the trials if the property is holding good, then you will declare that that is the answer. So, we are going to discuss problems like primality testing, where we are going to discuss whether the given number is a primality number or not. Second concept is called the fingerprinting, where we are taking the representative of the largest string. It is called the fingerprint, and once we have the fingerprint of the large objects, then we can go for problems of comparison between two larger objects. We will discuss a problem where we will take two lengthy strings, and then we will see whether these strings are same or not by using the concept of fingerprinting. Third design principle is called the random sampling and ordering, where we will try to randomize the input distribution or order. So, what we will do is we will use some sort of a random ordering or partitioning and sampling procedures to create randomness. So, we will discuss two problems for this design principle. One is called the hiring problem and another is called the random quicksort. Fourth design principle is called the foiling adversary, which can be viewed as a game between a person and an adversary. In other words, we can view this randomized algorithm as a selection of a problem from a large set of algorithms. In other words, we will randomize the problem such that there are many algorithms A, B, C is available, then we will select the best algorithm from the large set of algorithms. This is what the design principles of the randomized algorithms. So, now so far we had seen certain fundamentals. So, we had seen that the random order is very important, and with that randomness, what we are going to do is we are going to incorporate certain design principles like this, and then we are going to create the randomized algorithms. Fine. Randomized algorithm can be categorized into two categories. So, that means we have a category called Las Vegas algorithms, and another category is called the Monte Carlo algorithms. What are the characteristics of the Las Vegas algorithm? Las Vegas algorithm always give correct answers. So, that means we can guarantee the answers to be right always in spite of the randomness, and these algorithms are probably faster, and you have lots of algorithms coming under this category, and one of the most important problem is called the random quicksort. Monte Carlo is another category of algorithm which was designed by Nicholas Metropolis in 1949. You can see the sentence, mostly or probably correct. So, that means we will not get the solution always, but instead the output is going to be associated with a probability, and the probability tells what sort of answer it is. So, it is mostly or probably right, and it guarantees running time in polynomial, and you have lots of example for this. One is called the randomized primality testing. These algorithms can be categorized using complexity classes also. One is a class called RP, random polynomial. So, these class problems consist of decision problems that are solvable with one sided error in polynomial time. So, what does it mean? One sided means if the answer is no, it is the algorithm will always return no, but on the other hand, if the answer is yes, then answer is associated with a probability greater than or equal to half. So, Monte Carlo algorithms comes under the category of RP. Las Vegas algorithm come under the 0 point polynomial category, ZPP, where decision problems are solvable in expected polynomial time. And you have the observation, that is the polynomial is a subset of ZPP, which is a subset of RP, which is a subset of what you say the NP category of algorithms. These are the complexity classes of what you say randomized algorithms. Fine. Now, we will talk about the generation of random numbers, which is one of the most essential thing in randomized algorithms. Random numbers are generated by a random number generator. So, we have to write a software to generate random numbers. There are two types of random numbers. One is called the true random number. That means these numbers will never be generated again. So, these are called true random numbers, which are encountered in many physical processes like radioactive decay, flip of coins, short noise, radiations, etc., etc. But it is very difficult to generate random numbers in a real world scenario. So, for these sort of things we will go for pseudo random numbers. Pseudo means false. So, that means these algorithms are pseudo random numbers. We will use software to generate these numbers. These numbers can be recreated if formula is known, but practically we have to live on the fact that true random numbers are very difficult to obtain. Therefore, we settle for pseudo random numbers, which are more sufficient for most of the applications. These are the properties of pseudo random numbers: efficiency and deterministic property, then uniformity, then independence and long cycle. These are some of the essential properties of pseudo random numbers. Pseudo random numbers can be generated by means of the LCG algorithm, linear congruential generator. So, you can see that this is the formula for generating a number. X I plus 1 is generated using xi. So, x0 is called what you say the initial seed. So, using this you try to generate the subsequent numbers. So, here a b are large prime numbers and m is something like 2 power 32 or 2 power 64. So, once you generate the number, you generate the permutation array also. So, initially index is equal to 1, you try to generate a random number, then you swap a of index with the random number, then you try to generate the array, you try to generate the array called permutation array, and this is called the formal algorithm of what you say generation of thing. Fine. Once you have the random array, then you can solve the real problem. One of the real problem you will solve is called hiring problem. So, imagine like this, you have to hire a secretary among a group of secretaries. So, the logic is you can use the deterministic algorithm as well as the randomized algorithm. First, we will see how the deterministic algorithm works. So, imagine like this, you require a secretary. So, the initial candidate is assumed to be a best candidate. Let us assume that index 0 is going to be the best candidate. Then you interview the new candidate. If the new candidate is having a skill set better than the best candidate interviewed so far, then you hire the new candidate and you fire the old existing candidate. So, if n persons are interviewed, then you have to incur a cost of what you say you have to incur a cost of n, you have to give equal opportunity for all the people. So, you have to conduct interview for all the people. So, the cost is n into cost of conducting the interview, and another is out of n candidates you are going to hire what you say m candidates. So, if the hiring cost is c higher, then it is going to be m of c higher. So, that means the total cost is going to be the cost of interviewing and cost of hiring. This is what the deterministic algorithm is all about. So, here interview cost is you can't avoid, but the hiring cost can be targeted. So, in a randomized algorithm, how you will proceed? So, you will proceed something like this. You will permutate an array. So, that means you will shuffle the candidates, then you will assume that the initial candidate is the best candidate, then you will interview a new candidate. If the new candidate is better than the old candidate, then you are going to hire. So, the difference between the deterministic algorithm is the first step of the random permutations. So, once you have that, you can analyze that by means of the randomized algorithms, and in randomized analysis you can show that this algorithm is better than your earlier algorithm by means of the randomized algorithms. We will talk about the randomized algorithms in the next module. In summary, we can say that randomized algorithms are very effective. In randomized algorithm, we use pseudo random numbers. Pseudo random numbers are most useful, and hiring problem can be solved using randomized algorithms. These are the references. Thank you very much.